The game's over. The Oklahoma City Thunder have officially won the 2025 NBA Finals. Let's talk about it. It's a really weird win to talk about, obviously. There's some circumstance that happened around the game. If you haven't seen yet, Tyrese Haliburton probably tore his Achilles. I'm just going to go under that assumption. Usually a calf strain leads to this, i.e. 2019 Kevin Durant. Similar vibe, kind of the same thing where they tried to accelerate, and you could see it. You could see it. And I'm just getting this out of the way because I really do want to give props to the Thunder, and I don't want to make this video so damn bleak and sad and talk about, well, Haliburton's done for all of next year. By the way, we could talk about that in a different video, but the East is going to be so horrible next year. No Haliburton, no Tatum, no Dame. It's going to be an awful conference. Let's get into the game and talk about it. I like to see that Andrew Nembhard got it going early. He definitely looked more aggressive in the first quarter. They were going at him at the pick and pop with Siakam. Obviously, Haliburton hit back-to-back threes in the first quarter, and then he hit another one. 9 points in 7 minutes, for Christ's sake. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is real deal the Finals MVP. He deserves it after a game like today. I think he might have finished with, what, it had to have been like 14 assists, 12. That feels close enough. I think he had 6 at halftime. I have a stat here that at halftime, the Thunder had 47 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had scored or assisted on 34 of the 47 points. It was really looking kind of sad and kind of weird at halftime for the Thunder, as nobody really not named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander showed up. Well, I have to put a caveat on that. Alex Caruso was very good tonight. He had back-to-back threes in the first quarter. He might have, I think he had like 3 steals, maybe 4. He was very impressive. The Thunder's other players showed up today. This was Chet Holmgren's best game of the finals, and I can't recall a better game, but I don't think it's really even close. Chet had a couple of rebounds that I was impressed with in traffic, especially in the last few minutes of the game when Indiana really started to kind of try to make it close again. They cut it to 10 at one point, and it was feeling like, okay, Pacers are kind of balancing and coming back into this thing, but Chet grabbed a couple of rebounds and really, really worked hard today. I think he had 5 blocks. A bunch of them were like really big, important blocks, especially around the rim. Chet was fantastic. I don't even think he hit a 3 today. Did he? One 3. Didn't need to. He still scored at will. Not at will, but he still scored well enough. He had a dunk on a pick and roll. You know, Chet had a pretty decent game. I've been killing him this entire series. I have. I will step forward and say it. I have been destroying Chet Holmgren in this series because he hasn't looked good in this series. He's looked kind of overwhelmed. But today, he looked more, I don't even know, engaged. Maybe because it was a home game. We've seen him perform better at home than on the road in these playoffs. I think that's a young player thing. But he definitely looked better today than he has in the last few games. I can tell you that for certain. The one guy that I've been absolutely killing and destroying in these NBA Finals has been Miles Turner, and I don't think that's going to change today. He was straight up terrible. There was times where Tony Bradley was better than him. But in the second half, they kept having to roll with Miles Turner because, dude, Tony Bradley started to look bad. Thomas Bryant got a minute or two. I mean, Thomas Bryant should be selling car insurance, not playing basketball. Tony Bradley, these aren't guys that can be getting burned in an NBA Finals. That's just, it's just how their roster was built. They went small at the end to try and get pressure up on OKC on their inbound, so they went with Siakam at the 5. Obviously, they can only do so much. Aaron Nesmith was playing kind of out of control today. Multiple fouls that were just not good fouls, especially the last one. The last one, they had Shai hemmed up, no dribble, close to half court. It's him, and I think it's Nembhard, and he jumps at a pass fake and basically mounts Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, crazy statement, but he damn near mounted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for his 6th foul. He fouled out on that. And again, that's just one of those ones where it's like he doesn't have a dribble. He can't get free. You won the possession. I don't know. The Indiana bench really didn't have, well, they had a great day, but it was really only 2 guys. It was McConnell and it was Mathurin. Mathurin came alive late and really kept the hope alive that maybe there was a comeback brewing. He got to the free throw line very well in the last 2 minutes. He shot like maybe 8 free throws in the last 2 minutes of the game. But that's what Benedict Mathurin does. He's a get-to-the-line specialist. And TJ McConnell really carried them throughout the third quarter. I also have it written down that they went 1 full quarter. I believe it was 12 full minutes of nobody besides TJ McConnell scoring. I don't know. That's That's not a good stat, obviously. It's so bad with TJ McConnell deep frying that they started having to blitz him on screens, like 2 people were going at him. That's the only way they could force him into turnovers. Yeah, he was scoring, not at will, but he was definitely getting buckets today. TJ McConnell was very good scoring today, but he did turn the ball over a lot. And yeah, that's kind of the downside of not having your star point guard, the one that doesn't necessarily turn the ball over a lot. The third quarter got very frustrating to watch for me with the Pacers specifically because it just turned into turnover, OKC bucket, turnover, OKC bucket, and it felt like Shea was the one cashing in on every turnover. I can't stress how good Shea was today. You'd look at the box score and you'd say he shot, 8 for 27, and you'd be like, what an awful game. No, I feel like that was a pretty dang good game. Wasn't bad, to be honest. Sure, he shot inefficiently, but you got to understand, it's a Game 7. You got to empty the clip. You can't go into the offseason thinking, wow, what if I took more than 18 shots? Maybe if I took 12 shots, what would happen? You don't ever want to think that. You want to leave it all out there, and part of that is getting up any shot you feel is an open one, especially when you are the MVP of the league. That's your job, is to get shots up. Whether they're going or not, the team relies on you. It's just he got good enough looks to his teammates that kind of supplemented it. He had one really nice pass where he got trapped up in the air and ended up finding Cason Wallace in the dunker spot, a nice nice dish down low. He had so many good passes today. Another one where he jumped up in the air, froze, and then managed to hit, I think it was J-Dub for a 3. Like, he had a couple of really good passes today. And then especially like Alex Caruso hitting the threes. Cason Wallace hit a 3. You know, the OKC bench definitely helped play a role. OKC's role players showed up today. Indiana just looked like a bunch of role players without their guy, which is the truth. That's literally what happened. You started to know that this game was slipping away from Indiana when you got Logo Lou Dort. Yeah, Logo Lou. That was a funny moment. A grenade that winds up in Lou Dort's hands close to the half-court marker, and he smacks it. This is a guy who was standing on the three-point line from the corner, from the wing, from the top of the key, and it felt like, the front row had to watch their heads at times, and then he catches one at half court. Not even catches, he just picks it up at half court, smacks it, nothing but net. That's how you know it's not your night. Especially early in the game when Indiana was basically just trying to force the ball out of Shea's hands. Shea was going up whether there was 1 or 2 people on him, but they were still trying to force the ball out of Shea's hands and let it be anybody else. Lou Dort was playing like he was supposed to be the one running the offense in the first half. He took many, many threes. Again, it's all part of just emptying the clip, get all the shots out that you want. Don't go into the offseason thinking, what if I did this? Does it suck that Tyrese Halliburton got hurt in this game? Absolutely, man. But at the same time, I have to talk about the game itself. You know what I mean? I can talk about Halliburton now and say, it was absolutely terrible to watch, and then they made us watch the replay 15 more times, maybe 25 more times. Maybe I need to see the replay one more time. I don't know, man. No, they showed that replay way too many fucking times. That started to get really, really annoying to me. Of course, the guy's hurt, and obviously you could show, respects and stuff like that. But part of saying, you can say we pray for Tyrese Halliburton without replaying the same injury 7 times back to back to back to back to back. It became exhausting. Salute to Hallie. He's going to be missing the entirety of next season, I'd assume. His father confirmed that it was an Achilles injury. That basically tells you all you need to know. I was definitely getting very upset at Miles Turner. Boy, was he terrible today. I couldn't stand to watch it. He hit a 3, and I was like, whoa, here we go. He also hit a mid-range, and I was like, okay, Miles, here we go. Miles, this entire series was very bad. This might have been his worst series of the playoffs, and it just wasn't a series. They needed more from the others, and, well, they didn't really get it. Mainly because when you can key in on the others, it becomes a lot harder for them to score. It feels like this is just a team that needed Tyrese Halliburton, especially when he ended with the game high in threes and he played 7 goddamn minutes. Again, I can point and say, congrats to the Thunder, blah, blah, blah. There was also points in the second quarter where their offense looked horrible. It was standing around, a lot of Shea save us. That became kind of hard to watch. And that's what led to them only having a 1-point lead at halftime. I'm proud of the Pacers, man. They shouldn't have even been here. If you told me in February that we would have an Indiana Pacers team in the NBA Finals, I would have been like, no, what are you smoking? But they made it here. These are, the whatever you want to call them, Halliburton, pace, or I don't know what else the hell whatever you want to call them. This was an incredible run by a young team led by a young star with very good complementary pieces around them. It's just tragic how the story ended. But again, I don't know. Just because the ending of the book was bad, never mind. I was going to say just because the ending of the book was terrible, does that mean you can't enjoy the experience? When the end of the book is that bad, I don't know. I don't really know. Yeah, you can be happy that you're here for Indiana fans, but at the same time, you're probably pretty upset and pretty damn sad about what the fate of your next seasons hold, with Tyrese Haliburton being down, obviously. It's going to lead to a lot of interesting conversations in the offseason for Indiana. I believe Miles Turner's up for another contract. That's definitely something on the table. Where do they go without Tyrese Haliburton? I have no idea. I have no idea what next season looks like. I guess that's the majesty of the offseason. But again, congrats to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have looked like the consistent best team in the league since day one. They won almost 70 games for a reason. They're a damn good ball club. You know, they can score. They have 2 scorers who can get you 30 plus on any given night. J-Dub had a 40 ball. Although his box score may say he was the second best player tonight, J-Dub was a no-show in the first half. I'm giving second best player of the night to Chet Dam Holmgren. Played a great game, had a bunch of blocks, had a good amount of rebounds. Lou Dort with the offensive rebounding was good. Alex Caruso stealing the damn ball. He had like 4 or 5. Case Wallace had like 3 steals. Their role players hit threes. Caruso hit a 3. Kaysen hit a 3. Dort hit a couple. You know, their guys showed up. But for OKC, this is kind of what Sam Presti's been praying for ever since he turned everyone into picks. You know, he turned everyone into a pick equity asset. You know, shout out to all the Thunder legends from back when they were terrible. You know, Pokashevsky, where's he at? Does he get a ring? Does Poku get a ring? Come on, guys. Send Poku a ring. Yeah, they look like the consistent best team all year. They have the best defense in the league, I'd say. And they have this young core that was able to withstand the endurance test of the playoffs. Because the playoffs isn't always just a talent show. You know, you can have the most talented team in the NBA, but they aren't made for the playoffs. Some teams aren't playoff made. And honestly, OKC, they were playoff tough. They have tough players, Dort, Caruso, you know, even Aaron Wiggins off the bench. I say Hartenstein, even though he didn't really play in the second half. You know, these guys were big parts of their team, and these guys played tough all year. So I'm just giving my flowers to OKC before we get up out of here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Finals MVP and NBA Finals champion and MVP all in the same year. That's Nikola Jokic type stuff. That boosts his accolades. You know, he's main guy on a championship team. You know, and on top of that, they dominated the regular season. So, you know, it was a really good run for the Thunder as well. You get through that boogeyman in Denver. Because that was the scariest series of the whole damn thing for them. You know, they played a couple of good series, obviously, against, you know, Denver and Indiana. But the Denver series, really, it felt like that was the one that solidified them, as far as I'm concerned, as my finals prediction. Even though I predicted them to win it before the playoffs started, winning that Denver series really felt like the spark they needed and the real belief in me. And I'm not sure about OKC fans. OKC fans probably believe they were a championship contender all year, but I needed a little bit of proof to buy in. And when they beat Denver, that's when I was like, all right, I think they can really do this. And then they did it. Did it take way more time than it should have? Yeah, they dicked around in Game 6. They dicked around late in Game 1. But who the hell cares how many games you did it in if you just do it in the end? You know what I mean? I was really kind of rooting for the Pacers to win because I had a hard-ass Jerry West quote that I wanted to put in there. Jerry West, after the 68 or 69 finals when they lost to the Bill Russell Celtics. If you don't know the pretense to that game, this is a history lesson for all you youngins out there. Jerry West walked into the arena. They were playing a home game in LA. He walks into the arena and he sees the owner has set up balloons, confetti, and a bunch of championship parade shit for when the game was over. And it was in sight of the Celtics team. And the Celtics saw that. Bill Russell saw that. And Jerry West himself said that it pissed off, you know, he thought it would have pissed off Hondo, Havlicek, and Bill Russell and all them guys. And Bill Russell himself said it pissed him off. But Jerry West's quote after they lost that game was, I'm not really getting it. This is kind of off the cuff here. But he basically said, what's the point of playing the game if it's predetermined? So it would have been really nice to see the Pacers win, because I would have been able to use that quote. What's the point of playing the game if the result's predetermined? That's the beauty of basketball. It's unpredictable. And shout out to the Pacers for even giving the Thunder a run without their star player. And now we can talk about the Pacers for a second. The Pacers season was one of the best I've ever seen from a team like this. It started out with this, scrappy young group that couldn't defend worth a damn to start the season, who suddenly became this really, really great defensive team in the latter half of the year. Rick Carlisle, the oldest coach to ever coach a finals game or whatever the hell, that's really sick stuff. And then of course you have they're one of the most unique built and unique game plan teams in basketball, and they were one of the most fun watches in regular season that I've had in a long time. So I have to salute them, but going into next year, it's definitely a little bit more of a bleak outlook now. And the last thing I'm going to say is Dame, Tatum, Halliburton. They can all work out together. I don't know if they're going to be rehabbing together. I don't know. That it's just wild to see all three of them go down in the same 2 months, 3 months. Absolutely nuts. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. I'll still be doing off-season content. It was a fun season, though. This is my first season covering basketball, so this definitely feels pretty good. I'm going to go catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one.